Hey guys, welcome back to an all-new episode of the Chuck Load of Comics show. Happy Blade Runner month. That's right, it's Blade Runner month. It's Blade Runner year. Don't know what I'm talking about? Go back and watch the original Blade Runner. Right at the beginning of the movie, it says, Los Angeles, November 2019. Well, guess what? It is November 2019.
If you haven't noticed.
And I have no flying car. I am being bombarded with advertisements and neon signs everywhere I go, so we're kind of living in a Blade Runner world, but not quite yet. I thought that was really cool. I saw it on the John Campea show. I was like, wow. And then we went back, revisited the movie. There it was, Los Angeles, November 2019. I looked at my calendar, and son of a bitch, here we are. Joining me, as always, my very own replicant, Shauna. How's it going?
It's going great. I think it's so cool that we're now living in the future. Although it's not anything like what they were trying to portray.
I think it's a lot better. I think we're living a lot better.
But I want a flying car.
I want a flying car, but it's at least the sun's shining, which rarely happens in Blade Runner world.
That's a very good point.
Speaking of post-apocalyptic futures, guys, Terminator Dark Fate dropped this week. We saw it last night. We're not going to do a full review, but let me tell you, not a bad film.
No,
I didn't hate it.
That's true.
Not a great movie either, but not a bad movie. That's all you want from a Terminator sequel these days. Is it good? Is it bad? I'm going to say it's not good, but it's not bad.
I agree.
I think you'll enjoy it, guys. Let us know in the comment section. Did you see Terminator 3? Let us know what you think. We have got a massive, massive chunk of nerd news that dropped this week, guys. Dr. Sleep. We got our first reviews of the new Stephen King film, Dr. Sleep. The reviews are glowing. People are loving it. We're going to read sort of the first Twitter reactions from people online. One person actually said it's the best Stephen King movie since Shawshank Redemption.
I'm so excited for this. I can't
Very
wait.
excited. We got our tickets already. Drops in less than 7 days. In Star Wars news, will Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni take over for Benioff and Weiss in the new Star Wars trilogy? I think it's highly likely. We're going to break down the reasons why we think Filoni and Favreau are going to take over at Star Wars. And finally, The Boys Season 2. We've got a lot of news that dropped for Season 2 of The Boys, including a release date, new characters, episode count, and a whole lot more. So stick around for that. But before we get into this week's nerd news, guys, we want to talk comics for just a second, especially horror comics. It's Halloween. Halloween week. We've been talking a lot about this new Hill House Comics that's coming at DC. It's going to be a DC line of horror comic books.
So cool.
Headed up by Joe Hill, one of my all-time favorite horror novelists, right behind Stephen King. Well, the first book for Hill House Comics dropped this week. It's called Basket Full of Heads. Guys, go out and pick up this book. Not only because it's going to be a very key issue, it's launching this all-new horror series over at DC, but pick it up because it's damn good.
Right?
Really, really enjoyed Basket Full of Heads, issue number 1, and I liked it for reasons I didn't think I was going to like it for.
I couldn't agree more. I think it was really cool, and this, like you were talking about, I think the art, it's written like an old comic book, like comic strips.
It is.
It's really cool. It's I liked it for reasons I didn't think I would like it.
Yeah, the art in the book is really, really cool. It's not like realistic looking, or it's more, it takes the look of like 60s, 70s kind of comic book. Normally isn't my bag, but it totally works for this book. It takes place, I think, in the 1980s. It has a very 80s kind of Friday the 13th sort of vibe to it.
Yes.
Which, with Joe Hill pinning the script, it could not be better.
I know.
So really excited about Hill House Comics. It's going to be a whole series of different comic books, all horror-based, that are going to start launching from now until God knows when.
I love it.
Get it. Check it out. And there's a very special little story at the end of every single book about, I forget the name of it. It's called Sea Dogs.
Sea Dogs, yes.
Sea Dogs. They're going to give you a little piece of this story. It's basically about how werewolves won the Revolutionary War.
Such a cool concept.
For the colonists. Very awesome, guys.
Right?
So there's a lot to love about Hill House Comics. So go to your local comic book store.
Yeah.
Pick up Basket Full of Heads.
Joe Hill, you're going to crush this. It's so exciting that there's a line of horror comics.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happened yet.
And
Maybe
horror's
it has,
big.
but
Horror's big right now, man.
absolutely.
It's big in the movies. It's huge on television
Yeah.
and streaming services. It needs to be launched in a big way in comics. And Joe Hill's taking the reins.
Thank you, Joe Hill. Thank you, Stephen King, for birthing that man.
Yes, yes. Looking forward to seeing Joe Hill at C2E2 this February. If you didn't know that, Joe Hill coming to C2E2 for the first time ever.
So exciting.
So guys, let us know in the comment section, did you pick up Basket Full of Heads? Let us know what you thought. So guys, without further ado, we got a lot of nerd news to break down. So here it is, this week's nerd news. All right, guys, first big nerd news story of the week, Dr. Sleep, the follow-up to The Shining, drops in theaters in less than 7 days. It comes out this weekend. We're going to go ahead and read some of the Twitter reviews. Some of the critics have seen it. We're going to read some of the reviews for it. The reviews are absolutely glowing. Can't be more excited about this film.
I know.
We've got our tickets already. Bought them on AMC Stubbs A-List.
Thank you, A-List.
Thank you, AMC. Let's go ahead and get right into the reviews for this film. The first one comes from Andrew Dice, not Andrew Dice Clay.
Aw.
Andrew Dice. Andrew Dice writes, with Dr. Sleep movie, Mike Flanagan delivers the best parts of Kubrick and King in one movie. It made me feel silly for wanting to step back into The Overlook instead of stepping forward from The Shining with Danny. Rebecca is an instant icon, and Ewan completely nails it.
Wow.
Rebecca Ferguson, is it?
Yes, Rebecca Ferguson, man. Apparently she's getting all the buzz around this movie.
Everybody says she absolutely steals the show. Apparently the acting is phenomenal. Ewan McGregor, obviously phenomenal. So, yeah. Thank you, Andrew Dice, for that awesome review. Next one comes from Jacob Hall. Jacob Hall writes, Dr. Sleep, the boldest choice here is that Mike Flanagan doesn't even try to do Kubrick. He makes a Mike Flanagan movie, spooky, emotional, ultimately optimistic, not only a sequel to The Shining, but a response to it, an attempt to reconcile King and Kubrick. Love it. Love that review.
Right?
Where he says an attempt to reconcile King and Kubrick.
That's pretty
Good call.
cool.
Because obviously King did not like Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining.
I know. That's so exciting to hear, though, too, because who did not love Haunting of Hill House? I mean, and
Good
he's
call.
basically saying that he made this movie his style. So we're going to see Haunting of Hill House on the big screen.
Yeah, if you're not
basically.
familiar with who Mike Flanagan is, he
Gonna
was
be
the
so
showrunner
cool.
and director of Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. Phenomenal horror. If you haven't watched it, check it out on Netflix. Next one comes from Scott Menzel. Scott Menzel writes, Dr. Sleep is the best Stephen King adaptation since Shawshank Redemption. Mike Flanagan has a perfectly combined nostalgia with tension, mystery, and suspense. The entire cast is superb. There are a number of surprises that will make King fans squeal with delight. Hashtag Dr. Sleep. So stoked. Again, everybody's praising Mike Flanagan. His ability to kind of set mood, make scares. The movie's 2.5 hours long, so it's going to be a nice slow burn.
Yeah.
Very, very excited that we're going to be returning to the Overlook Hotel. So much stuff to get excited about. One last Twitter review we want to share with you comes from John Savger. I hope I love your name.
Savger.
Probably butchering it. John Savger writes, I watched Dr. Sleep on Monday. I was completely floored by how Flanagan was able to tie the book to the Shining universe that already exists on the screen. Fans will be surprised by this movie in a good way. So many little details that will make constant readers giddy. So this seems to be a movie made for fans of Stephen King, both in the books, but also for fans of the original Shining movie, the Stanley Kubrick movie.
Oh, man, I'm so excited because the book was amazing and everybody's loving it. And it sounds like the critic reviews that we're getting are from people that read the book.
Yeah.
And that's
you read
so
the book.
exciting.
You
Yeah.
read the book. We've
Oh
talked
my
about
God,
Dr.
it's
Sleep for months and months and months now when it
Yeah.
first dropped that it was going to happen. Very excited to see Rebecca Ferguson
Oh,
as,
man.
what's her name?
Rose the Hat.
Rose the Hat.
She's basically the leader of this gypsy cult that eats the steam of people that shine. It's going to be so good.
They're
I can't wait.
shining eaters. Man, I'm so excited. So excited for Dr. Sleep, guys. Get your tickets. Tickets have been on sale for a couple weeks now. Pick them up. It's going to be, I think, the coolest movie of the year, in my opinion.
Oh my
Definitely the coolest
gosh.
horror movie of the year.
I know.
So, guys, let us know in the comment section. Are you excited about Dr. Sleep? Do you have your tickets? Let us know. Sound off, as they say, in the comment section. Next big story of the week, guys. In the world of Star Wars, this was a massive bomb that dropped
It's
this
kind of
week in the world of fandom, guys. Benioff and Weiss, the guys who are going to do the upcoming Star Wars trilogy. It's going to come out in about 3 years. Well, they are leaving Lucasfilms. They have broken ties with Disney. They're not going to be doing their Star Wars trilogy. I think, and I'm going to break down why I think this. I think Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni are going to take the reins. I'll get to that in just a second. But a little bit of backstory, if you're unfamiliar on kind of what happened this week with the Benioff and Weiss Star Wars thing, they've released a press release that said that they were too busy doing their Netflix gig, because they got a $100 million deal with Netflix to
Yeah.
develop shows for Netflix. And they said, "Oh, we're too busy." A lot of people on social media said, "No, that's they're leaving something out."
Right?
Well, apparently they were. News came out from people in the know. They basically said Kathleen Kennedy, who is the head of Lucasfilms, was completely surprised when this Netflix news dropped. She felt like she had been cheated on.
Can understand that.
Took her by surprise. That was the first sort of nail in the coffin for the whole thing. There were also reports of lack of creative freedom for Benioff and Weiss, but I think Kathleen Kennedy was just sort of upset.
I think so too.
She wanted him to focus on the trilogy. Now they're going to be off doing this Netflix thing. She got a little butt hurt from it.
I completely understand why. I mean, you're now competing with $100 million deal from Netflix. That's tough. And then they're not going to be focused on their trilogy. They're going to be trying to come up with new content for Netflix. Exactly. It's ridiculous.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about my Favreau-Filoni theory. Before I do a little bit of backstory, love Kathleen Kennedy. She's one of the greatest producers in the history of... I mean, she's produced everything from E.T. all the way up till... I mean, now she's the head of Lucasfilms. Produced just about every great film ever made. But she hasn't had the best track record with hiring directors.
Poor Kathleen.
For Star Wars, let's take a look back, guys, all the way back to like sort of the original, when they were talking about doing a Boba Fett movie. Josh Trank was announced he was going to direct a Boba Fett film. Josh Trank, the director of Chronicle and Fantastic Four, the not widely beloved Fantastic Four, but that's a whole other story. Well, that got the axe. They announced, press release, Josh Trank's going to do a Boba Fett movie. Well, that went nowhere. After that, Rogue One. You remember the massive reshoots that went on with Rogue One? Gareth Edwards directed the whole film. They came in and brought a new director to pretty much reshoot the entire third act of the film.
Oh my god.
That's not good. And then, of course, the infamous
geez.
solo Ron Howard, Lord and Miller, shot for like 3 months of principal photography, and then they booted him from the movie, brought on Ron Howard, cost the studio billions.
And it doesn't end there.
Well, then Colin Trevorrow. Colin Trevorrow, the director of Jurassic World, he was supposed to do episode 9. He left because of creative differences, the infamous creative differences. And then now this David Benioff, D.B. Weiss thing.
Wow.
It's just a bad track record. It's a bad track record. I mean, you would think they would figure this stuff out before you announce that you got a director for a film.
Yeah, you would, but sorry, Kathleen, you just don't have a good track record, like we're saying. With
the reason I bring all that up, it's been a little wordy here, but the reason I mention all this stuff is because one creative team that is crushing it, apparently crushing it over at Disney, is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
And we all know Kathleen loves them.
Kathleen Kennedy loves Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. We were at Star Wars Celebration. We were at the Mandalorian panel, and there was just nothing but love on that stage.
Oh, yeah.
And this news about Benioff and Weiss dropped 1 hour after the Mandalorian trailer dropped.
Okay, that's interesting.
Amazing-looking Mandalorian trailer. Mandalorian looks amazing, looks phenomenal, looks like Favreau and Filoni are absolutely crushing it.
Yay!
I guarantee you, Kathleen Kennedy was like, you know what? Benioff and Weiss, you can walk. We've got a killer creative team.
We've got a killer backup
that we all love, that loves what we're doing, who's apparently crushing it with the Mandalorian. I think it's almost a no-brainer. You know they're sitting in a conference room somewhere saying, could we maybe give the new trilogy to Filoni and Favreau?
I think they knew that from the beginning. I think maybe they wanted to give it to them, but maybe they had all these people in line and, well, let's see how they do with The Mandalorian, and it looks like a movie. We're going to get a movie every single week, or hopefully. I hope that's how it works.
It is.
It is? You found that out?
Yep.
Sweet! Can't wait. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this.
And so once they get done with production of The Mandalorian, they've got 3 years to develop a trilogy. You know Filoni knows how to write Star Wars. You know Favreau knows how to direct big-budget films. It's a no-brainer.
It's an absolute no-brainer.
And they already have a corner office. They're already there working on it.
I love it. I love this idea.
I love it, dude. If we can have a trilogy that looks half as good as the trailers for Mandalorian look, bring it on. Super duper excited. So guys, let us know in the comment section, what did you think of the Benioff and Weiss leaving Lucas Studios, and what do you think? Is there a chance Favreau and Filoni are going to pick up the reins? I know what you're thinking. What's Rian Johnson doing right now? Where's his trilogy? Well, we're not talking about. We're saving that for another show. I still don't think the Rian Johnson thing is even going to happen.
No.
But yeah, bring it on, Filoni and Favreau. Let us know in the comment section, what do you think? Final story of the week, guys. The Boys, the beloved Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg Netflix series, The Boys. We got some big news for season 2 of The Boys, including release date, new characters, episode count, and more. First reviews of the first episode. We're going to break it all down for you. It's a big week in the world of The Boys season 2. Right off the bat, guys, release date. Nobody knows when it's going to drop. Well, show creator Eric Kripke says it's going to be a similar release date as season 1. He was sitting down with people over at Collider. Kripke says he hopes for season 2 to drop 1 full year after the first season, so about the same time next year. So, if you remember, when did season 1 drop? It dropped on July 26th. So, all signs point to Boys season 2 dropping in July 2020. Very excited. I mean, a lot of things could happen between now and then. It's
true.
not an official thing, but apparently the showrunner, that's the date he's kind of eyeballing
Okay.
for season 2 to drop. So get excited, put it on your calendar. Sometime in July, we should see season 2 of The Boys. Some character news, some cast news dropped this week. Obviously, we're going to have the return of the classic characters we saw in season 1, Butcher, Huey, Mother's Milk, female Frenchie, of course, the Seven with Starlight and Homelander, Homelander of the Deep, Black Noir, Queen Maeve, A-Train, all returning for season 2. But one really awesome character who got a little bit of a tease in season 1. Apparently he's Breaking Bad's Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. I'm
one
so
of the
excited
finest
for that.
actors working today is going to have a much larger role in season 2. Again, Eric Kripke said he will be a really important character in season 2. He will be featured in 4 to 5 episodes. Wow. Super excited about that. Giancarlo Esposito can do no wrong in my eyes.
Agreed.
Can't wait to see more of him. I think he was a member of the Vought Corporation in season 1, wasn't he?
I can't.
They met at like the
that.
party.
I'm not sure.
They met very briefly, I think, at the Vought party.
I honestly don't remember him being in
It was
season
brief.
1.
I mean, if you blinked, you would have missed it.
Okay.
Well, apparently his character is going to have a
Apparently I
much
did miss
bigger
it.
role. A new character joining the Seven, I believe, Stormfront.
Okay.
It's a new character. It's a female Nazi Vought superhero.
I know what you're thinking right now is I just put up a picture of a male Nazi superhero.
In the comic books, Stormfront was a guy. Well, apparently they're changing it to a female character. Awesome. Who doesn't love female Nazis? Female Nazi superheroes.
When have we seen female Nazi superheroes?
Not a lot of them.
Okay.
Not a lot of them. Well, I think she's going to be a really evil character. Who's going to fit in really well
This is going to be good.
with the Seven.
yeah.
I think. Last but not least, guys, a very special character joining the cast of The Boys Season 2, Patton Oswalt.
Yes!
Everybody loves Patton Oswalt. He has
doesn't
been
love Patton
released.
Oswalt?
He's joined the cast as a secret character. So they
Okay.
haven't announced who he's going to be yet. But I imagine he's going to be a member of Vought. He doesn't strike me as a superhero
Yeah.
type.
No, I mean, I see him being more like the Haley Joel Osment type character. Maybe
Yeah.
he has some kind of weird superpower,
Ah, that's
maybe.
right.
Or
I can see that.
he could just be a Vought corporation guy, like an HR Vought guy.
I kind of like your Haley Joel Osment
Yeah.
comparison
Yeah.
because who sees Haley Joel Osment as a superhero?
Right.
But he's got just kind of a quirky power.
And then you just see him at conventions and
Yeah.
stuff that just living off his childhood, you know. I think that was really cool. Where, if you remember, we saw Billy Zane.
Yeah,
Billy Zane cameo.
A cameo at the Comic-Con. So, what are people saying about the first episode? The first episode's been shot. The show's been in production for a while.
Yeah.
Well, Seth Rogen, he saw the first episode. Seth Rogen wrote, "We just watched the first episode of the second season this week. It was a wonderful thing as producers. This is way better than I ever could have hoped it would be." This just in, the show creator says it's going to be good. Take that for what it's worth. Evan Goldberg, co-producer, went on to write, "Immediately, it just looks a bit better, feels bigger. The actors all know what they're doing." And then Rogan went on and added, "They already have more resources for the second season. They're adding more characters. The scope of the show organically grows as the show continues." So
Wow.
it feels like it's going to be bigger. It feels like it's
Yeah.
going to be way more kind of flushed out. The characters all know each other. The actors seem to be in the
Yeah.
zone.
That's cool. I mean, like you said a minute ago, they are the showrunners praising
Producers
their own show.
say their show is great.
Go figure. But I trust
Water
what they're
wet.
saying. So that's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, well, speaking of Seth Rogen,
Yeah.
we heard this week that there was going to be a movie within the show. What does that mean? If you watch the Watchmen show on HBO, they kind of have that miniseries that's running
Yeah.
about the Watchmen. Well, this is going to be, they're making a movie within the show. It's called The Dawn of the Seven. So it's funny, if you go back and watch season 1 of The Boys, they're always talking about their movie deals and stuff like that. Well, now we're finally going to see one of the Seven's movies.
Oh, cool.
And who is going to be in this movie but Seth Rogen himself?
Oh, sweet.
Seth Rogen's going to be appearing as a cameo. He's going to do like an Agent Coulson-esque sort of character. He's going to be like a
love
little
that.
FBI agent
Yeah.
in what's called The Dawn of the Seven, a
Okay.
movie within a show.
That's awesome. I love that idea.
Fun little plot point,
Right?
I think.
I think that's great. It's like when Taika Waititi puts himself in his
Exactly.
movies. It's great.
Exactly.
You love it. You love those cameos.
Yeah. Well, last little piece of news for Boys Season 2, the episode count. You remember, Season 1 was only 8 episodes?
Yeah.
But it's 8 episodes that worked. It didn't feel short.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, a lot of shows on Netflix.
Sure.
8 episodes seems a little short.
Right.
It wasn't overly long.
Nope.
It's 8 episodes was perfect. 8 1-hour episodes. Well, they said Season 2 is also going to be 8 episodes.
Okay. I
So-
like that, but it's still, I don't know. I love the show so much. It would be nice to have 2 more episodes, but I'll take it.
10 would be nice, but if 8
Yeah,
works,
you
stick
know.
with 8.
I understand. That makes sense. It obviously worked, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Boys Season 2? Does any of this news excite you? Sound off in the comment section. How stoked are you for the Boys Season 2? Have you not watched Boys Season 1? Shame on you. You absolutely need to. It's one of the best things on Netflix, right up there with Haunting of Hill House. So that's our nerd news for the week, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Join us here every single Sunday on the Chuckload of Comic Show for sort of a breakdown of all the nerd news of the past 7 days in a short little 20 to 30 minute chunk. I know this is a really long show. Really appreciate you watching. And yeah, we'll see you here next Sunday for more nerd news right here on Chuckload of Comics. Have a fantastic week. See you next time.
Bye-bye.